Hi, 21 Days to Fitness friends. This is Anita Stone, and please disregard my hair. I've been out walking the dog and watering the tomatoes, and I had done some cooking earlier, so I came back into the kitchen to do some cleaning up. And I thought I would make a video for you just to show you what I made today. Remember my lesson on 21 Days to Fitness, where I tell you to try to find a block of time, more than 2 hours, preferably 3 or 4 hours if you can, sometime during the week. And if you don't do it every 7 days, try to do it maybe once every 10 days. And I want you to have every burner on the stove going, maybe something in the oven too. That's what I do. If I have something on one burner, then I'm going to get something else out. If I'm going to be in the kitchen watching something and cooking something, then I'm going to have 2 or 3 things going at the same time. And so one of the things that I like to do is buy some of these pre-made items that at the store, and that sometimes they're mixes, sometimes they're frozen food. This one's frozen. And I like to add to it and make it better. The way they are, they're not that great, and fresh is always better, but frozen is next, okay, and then canned after that. And so this is a frozen dinner that wasn't very expensive. It's called Voila Teriyaki Chicken, and so it has a little bit of vegetables, a little bit of chicken, a little bit of rice, so it's basically healthy. And just reading the label, it's only 1.5 grams of fat per serving, so almost fat-free. There's not a whole lot of food in this bag, and I have a family of 4, so I wanted to add to this, which is what I always do. And I'm always usually adding vegetables, or I added to this one vegetables and shrimp. There wasn't very much chicken in it, and I had bought groceries at the grocery store, and I was cleaning out the refrigerator, and I found that I didn't have any chicken, but I had some green pepper, I had onion, I had some celery, a little bit of tomato, just a little bit of several things. I had some yellow squash and some zucchini squash, and so I also had some frozen shrimp, about a half a bag of frozen, peeled, deveined shrimp. And so you can use that for cooking. I always have a bag or 2 of that in the freezer all the time. You can do a lot of things with that frozen shrimp. And so I put this in my pan. Now I want you to get a pan like this if you don't have one. I love this. This is so much better than a skillet. I don't know what brand this is. This was one of the more expensive ones. But see how deep it is here. And it's flat, totally flat on the bottom. It's not a curve. And so I put the chicken teriyaki mix in there. So you're going to start with a little boiling water. This doesn't say to put water in there, but just do it. Put in some water, then pour in your mix. And then I just started cutting in vegetables. And so I had a big head of broccoli, put that in there. I put in the little bit of onion that I had, green pepper, all those things that I mentioned. If you had some red pepper, that would be really good too. I thought it might need a little bit more sauce because I was adding food to the mix. So I put in a little teriyaki sauce, and then I threw in the shrimp at the end because shrimp only takes about 3 or 4 minutes to cook, and so that went in at the end. Also, as I was looking in the freezer and found the shrimp, I found a small bag of brown rice and frozen, and it wasn't very much rice. But so when you have rice left over or anything left over from a meal that will freeze, you may think, oh, it's not enough to keep. Well, go ahead and keep it because you can throw it into something else. And so I pulled that out, and all you have to do is take that Ziploc bag and run it under hot water, and then the rice will just pop out. And so put that in there. Now, it took a little bit more than 10 minutes. This bag says it cooks in 10 minutes, so it took a little bit longer because I put the fresh vegetables in there. But you just stir it around with it. You don't even have to stir it the whole time. I would walk away from it and maybe add a little bit more water to make sure it wasn't burning, and just cook it until it's done. And it was wonderful, and it filled up almost that whole dish. And so that made a whole meal. In fact, that'll be more than one meal for my family. Now, the second thing I did while I was cooking that, I had bought a big tray of chicken breast at the store, like $10 worth of chicken. And so I put all of those in my big boiling pot and boiled the chicken. Now, this is done, and it's cool, and so I'm not going to throw the chicken broth away. I'm going to keep that because I can do sauces or gravies or soups or something with that. So I'm going to pour that in my container, and I'll use this chicken breast. I'll probably use part of it for chicken salad with fat-free mayonnaise for sandwiches. I'll put part of it in I'm going to make a vegetable soup. As soon as I get the chicken out of here, I bought a head of cabbage, and so I'm going to make the old Weight Watchers recipe. It's on my blog. It's on my recipes blog. Start with cabbage and onion and carrots and celery, and you put anything else you want in it. I always put some zucchini and some yellow squash and a little bit of brown rice. Sometimes I put a little bit of chicken. Sometimes I'll put something like ground turkey. This is ground turkey. Sometimes I'll put that in there, just whatever I have. And so I'll make vegetable soup in this same pot next. Now I'm not going to wash this with soap in between. I'm just going to take out the chicken and put in water and start the vegetable soup. You don't have to wash these dishes in between. In fact, when I got finished with this dish, I'm finished with it now, I just left it there, and now I'm going to cook this ground turkey. And I have a little bit of green pepper and a little bit of onion left, so I'll put this in with the ground turkey. And I don't have any use for the ground turkey right now, but I'll put it in the freezer, and then later we can use it for tacos or chili or, just lots of things. I use ground turkey. You can put it in omelets, lots of things you can do with that. Sloppy joes, just anything. And you can even put it in little individual serving plastic containers, and then you can just use a little bit of it at a time. So you could cook, if you wanted to, 5 pounds of that ground turkey at a time and put it in the freezer, and you've got that done for later. And so when you have all these things cooking at the same time, it is so fast, and you've got food for days and days. Now, another thing that I did at the store is I bought 3 types of diced tomatoes. I usually buy the tomatoes diced. They cost a little bit more, but it's worth it. And I buy them in flavors. And the flavors cost a little bit more, but it's worth it. It's one less step that you have to take in the kitchen. And so this one is green pepper, celery, and onion. So I use this. I'll use this with Mexican food. I use it with Italian food. I use it with chili. Okay? And then this one's just plain. That's the one that I'll use for my vegetable soup. And this one is Italian. So this has oregano in it. So this is the one you can use for your spaghetti, your lasagnas, anything Italian. And so be sure and buy all those different flavors of tomatoes, because you can use those in a lot of your recipes. Let's say, for example, now I didn't do it, but sometimes I have part of a can of tomatoes left over in the refrigerator. If I'm not going to use it in the next day or so, maybe day or two, I'll put it in the freezer, even if it's just a little bit, because I'll add it to something like this. It'll just be a few little chunks of tomatoes in there. And so we're just getting a little bit of extra vegetables. So I want you to poke as many vegetables down your throat as you possibly can at all times. All of your meals, do this. And I have another recipe that I'll make a separate video for, because it's a little bit longer, and it's the Hamburger Helper Crunchy Taco Dinner. And if you make it just like it says, it's not that great. But if you make it the way I tell you to, it is an unbelievable Mexican dish. I put corn in it, and black beans, and onion, and green pepper, and it's just awesome. And brown rice, it's kind of got some rice in it too, and it's unbelievable. So those are some things that you can do with these pre-made meals to make them much better and much healthier. Well, I hope this has helped you, and hope you guys have a fit day. Have a great week. Enjoy this fall weather, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.